Hey everybody, I'm Asian Funk. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm joined by a really cool guest. Her name is Savannah, aka the real queen of the jungle. She is a cosplayer and bikini competitor. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. This is my first video interview
Yeah, cool.
for
Well,
cosplay related things.
yeah, awesome. Well, like I said earlier, I'm very excited and very honored to have you on the channel. So besides being a cosplayer, because we all know what a cosplayer is, at least the people that watch my channel, but can you describe what a bikini competitor is?
I'm basically the smallest level of female bodybuilding. So we're the ones that have nice rounded shoulders, full glutes, or a nice butt, and strong looking legs. We want our waist to stay tiny, but it is bodybuilding. So we do want to have a nice amount of muscle. I'm still pretty new. This is only in June, it'll be my third show. I'm hoping to eventually go pro with it, but right now, just an amateur.
How did you find your way into cosplay?
So I started cosplaying because I absolutely loved Halloween. My favorite thing was making new costumes and being all my favorite characters. And I can't remember if my first big cosplay was either Harley Quinn or Wonder Woman. I want to say it was Harley Quinn. It was the year the Suicide Squad first released their trailer, and I saw it whenever the trailer was released, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be that Harley Quinn. Huh. So of course, this is before they released any of the actual like Spirit of Halloween costumes or anything like that. So I said, I'm going to make it all. And I did. And then, Spirit released the costume that was almost exactly like from the movie for like $200 cheaper than I made it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fine. It was fine. So that's how I kind of got into it.
That's awesome. What are some of the things, did you take anything from your competing into cosplay that you found useful?
Yeah, I think that my ability to walk in heels has been one of the most useful things because most of the characters that I like to cosplay wear heels. Like my Poison Ivy heels are about 7 inches tall.
That's right.
So being able to walk in those is really important.
How do you choose what characters that you cosplay as? Is there is it based on personality or is it like the look?
Kind of both. So depending on the character, so some I identify really closely with. Like I've always loved Poison Ivy. I think she's an amazing character. She's all about nature. I bet she's the villain, but every now and then the villain is doing the right thing. Let's admit it.
Sure.
So, she'd probably be great for helping clean up the environment, save the rainforest and all. But
yeah.
So I really love her, and I've been fascinated with her since I was a kid. I grew up watching Wonder Woman, like the Linda Carter reruns.
Oh, uh-huh.
My mom had all the old DVDs, or I think they were still DVDs back then. She had all of those, and so I watched those over and over and over and over again. So that's how I chose to be Wonder Woman, because growing up, she was like my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
I chose to do Red Sonja because I had been looking at the character for a while, just what she looked like and everything. I was like, I really like her aesthetic. I really like that. So then I started reading up on her and researching the character and reading some of the comics and learning her backstory. And I was like, oh, wow, she's amazing. I want to be her. So I started making the chainmail, and it was a nightmare, but it was fun at the same time. Over 3,000 scales, individually hand-painted scales that I painted in my driveway.
How long did that take?
A long time.
Congratulations on getting on the cover of a comic book in cosplay. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I think that's kind of like a goal for a lot of cosplayers, is to be, recognized on a comic book. So, couple questions. Did you know you were going to be on? Were you trying to be on a comic book, or it just happened? Can you just talk about how you landed on a cover, and two covers, right? These are two different covers.
Yeah, these are two different covers, and there is still a third one that has yet to be released yet.
What?
Yes, it's the Halloween special. You're gonna love it. One of the other amazing cosplayers, Paradox Cosplay, she actually did all the Photoshop for it. It's phenomenal. I think y'all are gonna love it. So whenever I decided to make my Red Sonja, I had no idea it was going to end up on the cover. I just started a Pinterest board about her. I have a billion Pinterest boards dedicated to my cosplays that I want to do. I will probably never be able to make them all. I started looking at her as a character, and I said, you know what? I really like this character. I'm going to cosplay her. And most of my characters, I never anticipate people being like, hey, we want to put you on the cover of this. We want to do this with this photo. It's always just like, okay, I want to do this character to the best of my ability, and we'll see what happens. So I was actually lucky enough to start working with, you might know him as Warrior Pose Photography. Yeah. He is the one who did all of the photos for my Red Sonja And I met him whenever I did the previous, I want to say it was Fan Expo in Dallas. And whenever we kind of got to talking after that, I said, yeah, I'm going to make a Red Sonja. And he said, I want to do pictures of that. And so he ended up doing them. And Red Sonja official on Instagram actually ended up seeing them and they really liked them. And eventually they just reached out and they were like, hey, we're interested in using you for one of our covers. Would you be interested in doing that? And of course, I was like, yes.
You're like,
Pretty sure that's
yes.
everyone's dream. Yeah, is this a question? But it was just an amazing opportunity that I definitely took them up on. One of the cosplays I am doing that we're hoping to get on the cover is I have a Vampirella that all I'm waiting on is a wig. The wig is still stuck in customs overseas.
Oh, it's on its way. It's on
we're-
its way.
Yeah, it's been there since like I ordered it like 6 months ago. So
Oh my gosh.
it hasn't moved, but that's okay. So we're also hoping that Dynamite, who is the one who puts on the Red Sonja comic, will be interested in using some of the Vampirella photos we'll be getting done.
Very awesome. Very awesome. I look forward to that. And if you do get on that cover, we should talk about it again. I'll have you back on the channel. We'll talk about that too. Moving around in it, is it difficult? Is it something that is comfortable? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's actually not a bad cosplay to wear. Overall, like the biggest thing is I freeze if I wear it in the winter, so I only wear it during the summer months. The biggest thing is I carry extra clear nail polish, grommets, um, rings, and a set of little mini pliers in case I have to repair anything. Because this was my first experience making anything with scales or chainmail. So every now and then I have to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to glue it on. I have to glue the top on and make sure everything stays in place.
That's right.
So it's fine to wear. It's just uncomfortable to take off.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I'm always curious to see, like, because it's hard to tell based on a photo, right? And sometimes it's like, oh, this actually isn't very flexible, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm always very curious about how
It's
people.
actually,
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's very flexible. Like I have the one, because you're sitting on my workspace right now. I have the one that I'm working on for a commission. This is a piece of it, a piece of the top that I'm finishing.
Interesting.
And you can see that it actually moves like super well.
Oh, okay. So yeah. It's moldable. Yeah.
And the back, I always like to mount anything chainmail on a bit of fabric, just so it has a lining. Because while this isn't super sharp, after a while it would cause some chafing.
Oh yeah. Because it's just constantly like rubbing on your skin.
Right.
Right. That's interesting. You mentioned that Wonder Woman was the character that got you interested in cosplaying, the one that you wanted to do first, and it's like amazing. Can you talk about this a little bit?
Yeah. So this one I actually commissioned. This was commissioned back when I was like maybe 17 or 18. And I was like, I want the new Wonder Woman that looks like a gladiator. Like, I don't even know if it was actually released yet. Please excuse the dogs barking. They're in the backyard and they want inside.
Don't even hear it.
Perfect. I wanted the Wonder Woman that looked like a gladiator. I love the Linda Carter version, but that's not what I wanted to be for cosplay. So I commissioned this one from Viva Wonder Woman on Etsy, and it's all leather, except for the bracers and the armband, which the armband doesn't fit anymore, and the crown. But all of the red is leather, all of the skirt is leather, and the boots are actually the ones that were released from Hot Topic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So Hot Topic only released a few of the boots, and I searched around. I called every single local Hot Topic. None of them got them. And I eventually looked on eBay, and I found one pair that was going to be a little bit big. And I said, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to buy them. So I bought them. They were a size big, and I just stuck a little insole on them, and they fit perfectly fine.
Can you talk about this a little bit and how it's either more challenging or better than your Red Sonja one? Like, because I'm assuming they have similar pieces, but they are a little bit different. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. First, I'm going to preface with I did play God of War a bit, and I liked it, but I don't actually own the game. It was a friend of mine's, so I have not played that in 3-ish years. But I enjoyed it, which is how I got introduced to Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided eventually I'd add a Lady Kratos to my cosplay because badass character, I want to be them. So
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
big thing about this one is lots of glue. Believe it or not, I actually don't have to use white body paint because I am really that pale. That's not Photoshop.
What, really?
I am really that pale. I'm not naturally a redhead, not like this. But I am really pale, so I just had to paint on all the red. So we have to spray tan if I'm going to do my shows because I am, Kat Von D has the color of paper concealer. That's the color I am. So I don't have any tan to my skin, not really anyways. I'm just pale. And so we just add a little red on there and we go with it.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it definitely saves me on body paint. Anytime I want to do a character that's basically got white, gray skin, I just kind of go with my natural skin.
Yeah. Because you're right. The red like makes your skin even whiter,
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. I did not even pick up on that. I was like, she must have covered her entire body like in some kind of white makeup or something. But yeah.
Nope, that's just my color. The other really big thing about this costume is when they made it, I did have this one commissioned because it is all leather. And I'm just not good with leather yet. I'm working on. Is whenever they made it a little bit too big in the hips. So I had to go in and poke extra holes to be able to lace it up right. But overall, it's great. I mean, now that I've worn it a few times, I do wish I would have made the strap that goes across the chest a little bit wider.
So you mentioned that, Poison Ivy is like one of your favorite characters. One, because it helps you have red hair. So you're like, of course, why not Poison Ivy? But can you talk about how you decided which version of Poison Ivy to do and what were the challenges of making this like another corset that you
Yes. So this was actually the corset I made before I made the Black Canary corset, or attempted to make the Black Canary corset. So the first version I ever did, which is not in either of these photos, it's probably some of my very first Poison Ivy pictures you'll see on my Instagram. I commissioned that corset from someone, and that is the last time I commissioned anything from that person. Because it came in and I paid for steel boning and I paid for a lot of the stuff that was supposed to happen. And it just didn't happen. They were plastic zip ties instead. And by the end of wearing it for one con, it was falling apart. Yep. So that didn't go well. I chose this version of Poison Ivy because, quite honestly, I was lazy on the body paint. I didn't want to be green because I have body painted myself completely before gray. And my skin takes to it really well. And I was gray for a week.
Oh, wow.
So, yes. Scrubbing, tried Germex, all sorts of stuff didn't work. So I was like, I don't want to paint myself every single time.
Right.
I wanted the very classic, like, bodysuit. I didn't really enjoy, which one is that? I didn't really enjoy the one that was just a little bit of leaves because I'm over here picturing wardrobe malfunctions, which is never fun when you're at a con, especially when you accidentally flash children. I've never accidentally flashed a child, but I'm envisioning it.
Sure. It's a fear. It's a legitimate concern.
It is a fear. But the biggest challenge with this corset was the 14 different mock-ups I made. So I would make one based on a pattern. I purchased a pattern online. I printed it out. And I was like, I can do this. I can make this thing. So I made it for my measurements, and the pattern is not accurate. So I put it on, and I was like, this is way too big. And admittedly, whenever I first made this costume, I was about 100 pounds. So I'm very lucky that it still fits. I've added lots of fabric to make it still fit in the hips. So the biggest challenge is still repairing it constantly because since it's under so much stress, especially now that I've got more right here and on the hips, that it has to try to hold more, the boning will rip out every now and then in certain places, like especially along the top seam, and then I have to go in and repair it.
Okay.
When I chose this version, I just really kind of looked and I said, okay, which version is I guess the most iconic version in my opinion. And I thought classic bodysuit, that's the most iconic. Like people see it and they're instantly like Poison Ivy. Most of the time, except for occasionally I get, you must be Eve.
That's interesting.
Yes, that's usually by non con people though. That's
sure.
Whenever I've worn this to a normal
Halloween
party.
Yeah, they're seeing what they want to see.
Right.
It's not like you're holding an apple.
Except for whenever I'm snacking. But yeah.
Yeah, right. That's funny. I didn't even
like we're comic nerds. We automatically think that's poison ivy.
Yeah,
normal
I
people think
never
that's Eve.
It's very interesting, yeah, to hear about what other characters people think you look like. And you're like, close, but no.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
The fun thing with this costume is I've actually, every single time I've worn it, I have had to add more leaves to the back of it. Because, like I said, when I made this, I was probably like 100 pounds, maybe 110.
Uh-huh.
So
I see. So you just keep adding leaves to cover up as it's
I just keep adding leaves.
That's hilarious. No, that's so smart.
There's no boning in the back down the butt, so it's just like I've added a little bit more fabric so I can adjust it for length because I did make it adjustable. And I just have. So originally, all the leaves on this, it came from my mantle decorations. I had a really nice set of flowers and vines and things over my fireplace.
That's some smart thinking. I like that.
It was because I started looking at Hobby Lobby and I said, you know what? I can't find anything as nice as what's over my fireplace here, which told me that it was really expensive. But I did it anyways. And of course, whenever my mother came to visit later, she was like, what happened to all your fireplace decorations?
Yeah, I used them. I repurposed them.
I repurposed them. That's right.
Is this snake real? Are these snakes real?
That is one of my snakes. Yeah, I have about.
Oh, they're your snakes.
They're my snakes. I have snakes. I have 2 spiders that are literally right over there. 2 big tarantulas. In my dining room, that big tank you saw, that's a crocodile.
Like a baby crocodile?
It's actually a dwarf caiman. I have 2 different species, and that one's name is Vader because he sounds like Darth Vader when he breathes. He goes like this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. This is Nigel in the pictures, though. Nigel's a Burmese python. He's super nice. He's super chill. He's never offered to be aggressive with me. And he's just kind of like a puppy, honestly. He actually kind of poses himself. So all of these pictures, I just hold my hands kind of open and let him pose himself. I might position my arms, but all the rest of them, he's just moving. And these were just pictures that he moved, and it ended up perfect.
Got it. So you're kind of letting him do everything, and then you're posing around him.
Right.
Got it. That's okay. It looks great. Amazing. I had to ask if these were real snakes. I'm excited to hear that they're your snakes. And you said his name is Nigel?
His name is Nigel, like Nigel Thornberry.
Amazing. And he's what is he kind of, is he a python or what kind of snake is he?
He is. Oh. He's a Burmese python. Burmese pythons are the 3rd largest species of snakes on Earth. If you go by weight, the anaconda is the largest. If you go by length, the reticulated python is the largest. I am personally not a fan of either of those species of snakes just because I have yet to meet a nice one. But Burmese pythons are pretty docile. Do you remember the Britney Spears Slave for You thing?
Yeah.
She had that one. Yeah.
The yellow one?
That was an albino Burmese python. Yes.
Got it.
That was an albino Burm.
What advice would you give to someone who was getting into cosplay?
Understand that you're not perfect and you're going to make mistakes, and you can totally redo a character as many times as you want. You don't have to have a new character for every single con, because unfortunately my brain is always like, we need at least one new character for every con we go to, every single one. And then my bank account is like, no, Ben, please, mistress, do not do this. And of course, my brain is like, you should listen to the bank account. And then my heart is like, but I want to be Princess Leia, or I want to be Emma Frost. And more likely than not, at the next Fan Expo, I think that's the next one, I will probably be bringing out 2 of the cosplays that I wear the most often, which are the Red Sonja and Poison Ivy. That's one of the big things. And then there is no shame in commissioning a piece. There's no shame in it at all. Mm-hmm. Because for one, you're supporting another artist. Yeah. I'm not really good with leather. I've tried. I'm working on it. I would never wear any of the stuff that I've worked on, except for I can make really good straps for like holding up a top or holding like around the back. Another thing that I am very passionate about is you do not have to look like the character to cosplay the character.
Thank you again for being here, for taking the time to talk about your cosplay, how you got into it. Would love to have you back again.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed getting to know you and talk to you. Definitely love to join you again sometime.